What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Friday night, once again, the end of the week. Can you believe it? I don't know about you, but man, this week has flown by. Literally, the days and the weeks and the months have just been flying by. But as always, we're thankful that you guys are here Friday Night Live with us, sharing your time with us. Bring your favorite beverage. You know, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So if you happen to like a little beverage at the end of the week, by all means, enjoy your beverage. Grab a pen and paper. And of course, if you like coffee, or if you're like me, drinking a lot of water, welcome to Friday Night Live with myself and, of course, my beautiful co-host, Mr. Scott Goyette. Mr. Scott Goyette is in the house. What's going on, Mr. Scott? Good to see you.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm fired up. I got my red bandana on.
I was going to say, I see that.
I'm just going to beat you and Joe to it. I'm like, I'm wearing my red bandana tonight.
I'm going to bring a bandana one of these days just to do it, just to kind of just fit in a little better. Really? I'm ready.
I'm gonna wear a white shirt.
This is new, dude. I just started the white shirt. It's going into fall. I know that's a summer thing, but it's long sleeve. The only thing is you got the white background. It does. I'm trying to like blend into everything, like kind of just like camo.
You kind of do blend in.
I am. I'm floating right into. It's like I'm one. It's the oneness thing. I'm everything.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Extend your sense of self to your shirt, to your backdrop. I'm all of it.
You are. And we're against a brick wall. So.
There you go.
I got my red bandana for the red light, and I've got a dark shirt for the dark over there. Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. But anyways, we're not here to talk about our wardrobe. What's going on? Charles J. Stecker Jr., thank you so much. President accounted for. Thank you so much for being in the house. Megan Watson, thank you for being in the house. What's going on with you, man? How's your week been? We've hardly had a chance to catch up this week.
So things have been interesting. Like you said, the time flying so much. It's been a little bit crazy and crazy in both a good and an interesting way. Things are just moving so quick where, you know, your norm is I'll get A, B, and C done. Sometimes I feel like A is still going on and it's Friday. It's just like, boom, you know, it just happened. And I hear that a lot. A lot of people saying time's flying by, you know, things are a little weird. They're a little different. But overall, every time I look back, a lot of good things happen. You know, I see you had your 6 things you did in the day. It's nice to be in those moments, still have impact, and just see good things happening. I mean, our coaching group it's awesome, dude. I mean, like looking at those interactions and then watching people overcome their fears instantaneously and how quickly that group became an amazing, stellar family has just been, I mean, you both of us have talked about that this week. That when you see those people instantly growing and instantly becoming vulnerable and so transparent, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And actually I just got off a phone call with one of them and pretty darn excited about that conversation. Let's just say that. So
I love it.
Seeing the growth. I was just talking to somebody the other day and they're like, what is your drug? And I said, what is my drug? My drug is seeing somebody go from like this to I get it, or I'm starting to get it. I mean, it's such an amazing thing, you know, Scott, being able to talk to somebody and share with them in such a way that they get it and they're able to take a step forward and hopefully help somebody else bring that person a step forward too on their journey. And that's kind of what I shared with that person was like, hey, we can take our situations from our past and we can look at them with one way. Like you were talking about, you know, cleaning the lens. We could look at it, okay, a little distorted lens, or we could keep cleaning it and say, oh, listen, I'm going to look at it. I choose to look at it this way, because it's my strength. It's my grind that gets me through. That makes it worth meaning something. But yeah, man, no, it's totally cool. And it's already freaking Friday. It's like, what?
Yeah. Wow. It's already 2 weeks into that program. I feel like we just started talking about that yesterday. We're 2 weeks in, we're starting to get deep into the stuff with the meditation. It's amazing. It's so fast. So don't miss the moments. There's your whole, don't miss the moments, because it goes fast.
Don't miss the moments. Yeah, for sure. And speaking of moments, we are proud and pleased to have a very dear friend of mine. Met him back in 2014, May 2014. We both spoke at a foster youth conference. We were brought in as celebrity speakers. It was interesting because I'm not in the movies. I'm not an actor. I've not worked alongside some of these big names, but I was brought in as a celebrity speaker as well. And I got the opportunity to meet this gentleman right here, Mr. Chris Warner. Chris Warner, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, brother? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing real good. And in this 2020 crazy thing that we're living in right now, I can't complain, man.
Nice.
It's the accelerated life course, right? You know, it's like that. It's like the consolidated class. I mean, Scott's a professor. It's like that 18-week class into 8 weeks that's gone into like 6 months that is just supposed to be the measure of growth that you're supposed to go through. But yeah, man, you got to pivot.
It's like
right?
standing at the edge of a pool and getting shoved in by your buddy. You know how to swim? No, better figure it out, Chief.
Or
I
saying,
think that
you
did
want
happen.
a drink? You're like, and the fire hose shows up.
Yeah. As I tell people, I'm doing the best I can with what I got, man. That's all I can do. That's all anybody can do, you know? So
exactly. No, that is so true. I want to for those of you guys that didn't see the promo, I just want to share this real quick. This is a picture of Chris and I from 6 years ago. So this is kind of funny just to share with you guys. But there's Chris and I just before we're about to go on stage at the Foster Youth Conference. And then we were introduced. They're like, this is Mr. Badass and this is Mr. Kickass. And right from that moment, we were just like, you know what? One day we're going to have to do something. We're going to have to come together, join our forces, join our powers, join our passions. And tonight is the night. It's finally manifested here. So thank you so much for being here. But for the folks that may not be as familiar with you as I am and as Scott is, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I mean, I know you're a writer, author, director, speaker, and everything else in between, advocate. But just kind of give your little bio back and let people get to know you.
Well, man, what I like to tell people is I help you escape reality. That's what I do. That's what I'm here to do. And I hope in the process, what I can do is inspire people while I'm doing it, you know, and they say, well, what's that mean? I said, well, I'm an actor on stage and screen. And I want you to, when you see me and visit me, I want you to forget about everything else that doesn't matter to you. I want you to think about the priorities in your life while you're here this short period of time. And the way I do that, again, is on TV and film as an actor. And I have done it on stage as a speaker as well. And I also write. I'm working on something right now as a TV show as a vehicle for myself. But really what I think my purpose is, there's two things I think I was put on the planet to do. That's entertain and inspire. And also what we're going to kind of get into today mainly is help those who can't help themselves, but ultimately show them how to help themselves. I'm a big fan of everybody milking their life for everything that it's worth, man. I mean, we're only here once, and let's get all of it that we can, all of it. And if I can help anyone, you guys just spoke a minute ago, Chris, about how when you see the twinkle in someone's eye, the glimmer, the hope, I don't care if it's just a spark, man. It's pretty cool to see. Then you know that they know that it's possible. But specifically to what you're saying, what vehicle do I use to kind of live my purpose? And that's being on screen, both small and large, with people like, and I don't want to name drop, but just tell it as it is. I was in No Country for Old Men with Tommy Lee Jones. I was in Sin City with Benicio del Toro and Brittany Murphy. May she rest in peace. I've been on the small screen with, who was the last time I was on Garrett Dillahunt. If you guys know who character actor is, he's a really cool dude. I was Justified with him. I was on the Prison Break with, drawing a blank. Is it Wentworth Miller? Is it?
I can't remember either. I could see his face, but as soon as you said that, I had it and then I lost it.
But, you know, and I've had the opportunity, experience, and I'm very grateful and thankful for the platform that's allowed me to not only kind of fulfill the things that I like to do, but also hopefully show people that guys like this normally don't do by the laws of the land, so to speak, don't make it to where I've made it to. And I haven't nearly gotten to where I'd like to be, but big uglies don't get to be in Academy Award winning movies unless they make it happen. So that's kind of too what I want to speak about a little bit tonight with you guys about more of the pro confidence than the anti-bullying, about what building confidence in yourself where it will take you. Because again, I shouldn't have done or been able to do what I've done based on what society tells me I can and can't do. So
I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying, and I love it. Thank you guys. Excuse me, for all coming here. Megan Watson, what's up? Charles again. Mark Gassert's in the house. Megan Watson. Thank you guys all for being here. Mark says, greeting Christopher, Scott, and Chris. Great point, Chris. The arts are a sensational platform to help others in our society. Giving back, my brother. You are giving back. Yes. We got it. We got keep it on, Chris. Keep on it, Chris. Absolutely. And then even preach it, bro. I don't. Oh, I get the Christopher out. So I guess I'm Christopher, and you're going to be Chris. Okay, cool. And I would love to hear more about your foster speech. Absolutely. It's I have my part of the speech on my YouTube page, but yeah, that was such an incredible experience. But yeah, I mean, today we are here talking about bullying, essentially, like a lot of situations that are going on in the world usually surround kids being bullied, but also we have adult bullying happening on. So, but I love what you said, Chris. And I think that's one of the great jumping off points is looking at it from a pro-confidence standpoint versus a bullying standpoint. But my first question to you guys is, what has been your personal experience with bullying in your life? Were you bullied as a kid? Were you a bully? Did you help a bully out? Talk to me about like your first foray into understanding what bullying is on a personal level.
Scott, go ahead, bro. Take it.
I'll start real quick then. So, like anybody, we've always had like the older kids in the neighborhood and, you've got those situations where as a kid, we always want to be the best at everything. So I almost feel like I put myself into being bullied because you'd always want to play with the older kids and they're going to pick on you and they're going to harass you. And at the time we just say boys will be boys, you call it hazing, whatever. You can look at it any way you want, but I want to jump right into what you just said, because you were talking about that confidence piece. You have two choices right there. You can buckle or you can cling on to confidence, but that's not the way it works for everybody. Everybody doesn't have, a certain ability or a certain gift or a certain resilience to overcome and dive into that. And I love where you were going with the idea of making sure that you have the confidence, because let's face it, bullies bully because of lack of confidence, and those who get bullied because of lack of confidence. So if we can inspire that, and it's my mission too, when I listen to your word hope, if we can inspire a sense of love and hope into those who have lost hope and give them that confidence, the resilience, all the things that, we're teaching in the Go Love Now models, which I'll share with you later, Chris. But all that stuff, once they have those tools, bullying organically goes away. So to back up, to Christopher's comment, we're calling him Christopher tonight, right?
Yeah.
Back up to, your question.
I don't have the no excuses coach up there. I took the no excuses coach down.
I know. But yeah, there are times that, we've all been bullied. There's times I was definitely, bullied. And a lot of times I almost want to say, I threw myself out there to the wolves. It's like, there's something that, I'm participating in as well. And then there are very few times that I see myself as a bully and I felt horrible for it. Like, you almost want to run back in Facebook and find that person and be like, remember I did that to you? And you think they don't, maybe they do. Maybe we should run back and say, I'm sorry, because that it's not right. We shouldn't be doing it. And a lot of people continue to perpetuate those behaviors long into adulthood. And we can talk about that in more depth as we go forward. So that's my experience. That's my belief. And that's where I want to serve, all in one statement.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you. Thank you. Chris, what was your initial experience with bullying? Were you a bully, buller?
Man, when you said that, I go back to my youth, to two specific situations. One was in 5th grade, and I remember Chuck. I'll leave Chuck's last name, and that's his real name, but leave that out. And I remember he and another gentleman, like to flick the earlobe. Remember that happening specifically. That I guess left a mark because I can remember pretty vividly. And then that was I think 5th grade. And in 7th grade, there was a couple guys on the bus that were a year older, and they were kind of doing the exact same thing in a different city, up and down the bus during the mornings. And I hit a growth spurt. So that's kind of two specific bullying situations I remember having my earlobe tagged a few times. And in 6th grade, in my 6th grade school year, I grew 6 inches. So I went from being an average kid to being called Bigfoot in 6th grade.
Wow.
And just being a bigger guy, right? I'm a husky, big guy. And I think, and I know that my size has helped me along the way. I'm not going to deny that in any way, shape, or form. And in referencing what Scott said earlier, confidence is learned in anyone, but sometimes it's more seemingly inherent in some folks than others, because either they grow up big, younger, or they come in contact with competitive something, younger, sports or something like that. And what probably shielded me from a lot of the bullying after that was my sheer size. Most people didn't come looking for trouble, and I really didn't think about it because I didn't want it when it happened the first time, or the first couple times. But I can tell you this, that up into early adulthood, I was kind of probably a weaker, bigger guy. I was a guy that at times I would allow people to kind of walk over me verbally, and it would be cool. Oh, the kind of, you laugh it off. It's jokey. Oh, Chris is a good, big, goofy guy or whatever. He can take it. He can absorb it. I don't know if, again, my size, thought people could just, throw a jab here and there verbally, emotionally, and just get away with it. I can tell you I am not that person today. I don't say that with complete pride, unfortunately, because piggybacking a little bit on what Scott said and kind of wrapping this up a little bit is I have a philosophy that to take care of a bully, you have to at least match their energy. And most of the time, and people don't want to hear this, you have to overcome it. You have to actually be bigger, whatever that means. I'm not going to put any stamp on that per se, but a lot of times your energy, in whatever form it comes, has to escalate just slightly to take care of the situation. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about today is probably going to rub some people the wrong way, because Chris and I talked about this a little while ago, is that people don't want to take the risk that it's going to, they're not going to take the risk for the dividend paid. And the dividend paid is freedom from being bullied. And a lot of times you got to toe the line. And I can tell you this, going back to my youth and wrapping my point here, going back to toeing the line in 5th grade, toeing the line in 7th grade, there was no seed of confidence then. I can promise you that. It was take it. And in the back of my mind, please stop doing this to me. And I would wish that, and other things that we've seen and heard, I wouldn't wish that on any kid or any adult for that matter. And I think over time, and I really credit my coaches in my competitive sports with not only planting the seed of confidence in me, but watering the shit out of it. I mean, that's really kind of where I came out of it. On the end of high school is where I started, you start becoming a man, but I was still a boy in a man's body. Yeah. But, in your 20s, you start getting punched in the face, and eventually you figured out how to put your hands up. And I say punched in the face, I mean that figuratively. You start learning how to put your hands up, and then you start learning some other techniques that move you forward and get you past some of the things that people do to you and think they can do to you. So that's it in a nutshell.
No, thank you guys both for sharing. It's interesting. I kind of expected, based on my story, I kind of expected that you, and based on your passions for bullying and wanting to be, to attack the subject, I figured that maybe you had more deep rooted issues with bullying like me. I mean, I literally was bullied. I started being bullied by my mom at a young age, physically abused, mentally abused. And then when I got into school, because I was so different from everybody else, being raised by my mom, I quickly became bullied in elementary school, to the point where I would literally get my ass kicked halfway home. And then the neighborhood bully who wanted a piece of me would pick up the slack. And then I would go running into people's houses. I remember one time this kid was kicking the crap out of me, and I literally saw a screen door, and I saw the door open, and I ran into this person's house. I went into the bathroom and I locked the bathroom door. And these people were like, get out of my house, get out of my house. And I was only probably, 7 or 8 years old, if that. And I was just like over it. And then it's interesting. Like you said, Scott, we could go back and apologize. Same thing with you, Chris. About 6th grade, I started getting bigger, and I was just like, okay. And I started standing up to people. And I remember this one guy, his name's James Vidmar. I don't even care if I say his name, because I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him now. Actually, I went searching for his ass when I was like 15 years old. I'm like, you motherfucker, you want to go? Let's go now. You're going to pick on me? Because he was old. He was like 3 or 4 years older than me. And I'm like, okay, if you're 15, you're 19 now. Let's go. Couldn't find him anywhere. It doesn't really matter. But then one day I lost my shit and then wound up standing up to him. I pulled I don't even what you want to call it. I freaked the hell out and just started screaming and going after him like I was going to murder him. And everybody in the school stopped messing with me, up until the point. It was funny because then I started becoming the bully. There was this guy named Chuck. His name was Chuck Yates. Whatever. And he used to taunt me like, Chris piss. And this was right after I went berserk on this kid and people started leaving me alone. And I just walked up there and started punching the crap out of this kid. Just bam, bam, bam. He was this fat kid. And I just started punching the crap. I punched him down to the ground. Everybody was like, what the hell happened? And he was bleeding and everything. And I was like, ooh. So then I became the bully after that. And then I messed with this kid. It was a good friend of mine from all throughout elementary school. I pushed him in 7th grade. He had all these books, and I still to this day feel bad for that. So, Scott, when you said that stuff does carry me, because I often think he was always picked on and I was always his friend, but then I became the jerk. I always think like maybe was that the thing that caused him, like, that was that scarring event in his life that caused him not to have confidence or anything. But, and I look at all those experiences as really part of the building blocks of what develops that courage. So I'm really interested to see what you guys think about how we can focus less on anti-bullying and more on that pro courage, because that's being more of the solution than just focusing on the problem. So what do you guys think about that?
Chris, why don't you lead on this one?
Okay, sounds good. This is in no way to try to promote it, but I did write a book, and I don't want to make it as simple as steps, but there are in the book, because doing a lot of research prior to it, what's the easiest way to feed people the information they seem to be longing for, and that's kind of the way it came. Live Bully Proof is what the name of the book is. It's on Amazon if you want to pick it up. But I feel like there's 5 things, if you do them in order on a daily basis. Once you master these things, it won't take long. I'm not going to put a number or a day on that. It's up to you how much time and effort you put toward it. But if you do these 5 things in order on a daily basis, that over time, Scott said it organically, I say virtually, you'll build enough confidence you'll build enough confidence that bullying virtually goes away. And those 5 things, I'll name them for you right here. You don't even need to buy the book. I'll give them to you. And then you can go research these things you'd want to do. The first thing I'd ask you to do is when you get up, that you meditate. That you meditate or quiet your mind every morning, because bullying starts with allowing your mind to be overcome, so to speak, by whatever it is that you're allowing to be stronger than you. Let's get rid of that noise. And then the next thing we got to do is visualize. So find your favorite music, find a video that you like, find multiple videos you like, and take in what inspires you. Because when you start to write or paint the picture that you want your mind to be, you want to be at your peak level mentally, because it's open. Your mind's open to any possibility. So the third thing is to write something, or video record, or audio record something, kind of a flow of consciousness. Get everything out that's in you. Get everything out that's in you every day. And then what I'd have you do, the last thing I'd have you do is kind of 2 parts. So it's kind of 4 parts with 2 parts at the end is you need to exercise. You need to feel strong physically. There's nothing like feeling strong physically. There's nothing. And then to piggyback your exercise, once you kind of get a strong physical base, then I would implore you, and this isn't like some kid taking karate, which I did. I took Taekwondo as a kid, but it isn't that. I would implore you or have your kids take some form of self-defense.
Yeah.
It's when people get bullied, or people are worried about bullying, they expect the world to change for them. And that shit is not going to happen. It's not. We can hope it can with every punch that we throw at a bag. That's what we hope. We can hope when we meditate. And I'm not coming from this dark Lord area. I'm coming from hopefully a foundation of hope and light, like Scott was talking about, that when you learn these things, kind of like they teach you in martial arts, you hopefully will never have to use them, ever. But if you do, they are readily available. And you are good enough that you only have to scale it as much as it needs scaled. You wouldn't necessarily do what Chris did at a 7th grade level with no training. I mean, once people wonder why Columbine and stuff happened, these kids are taken to the brink. You were taken to the brink, Scott, and that valve was never let loose until it was let loose. And when it did, hell, you could have killed that kid. But if you would have been some form of self-defense where you were taught to release that anger or release that pressure and get tagged in the face every once in a while, know how it feels, then there would be a certain respect for any kind of confrontation, whether it be verbal or physical. So sorry to get off on a tangent on that, but I feel that you've got to prepare for the world, because the world is prepared for you every single day. And if it's going to put itself on you, and you can't get mad at it for being the world. And that's what I hear all the time, people yelling and screaming at each other and your kid this and my that and that. Whoa, hey, no, take care of your shit. I'll take care of my shit, and we probably won't be at odds. But unfortunately, most of the world won't take care of their own shit. And it breaks my heart that, you see these kids getting bullied, crying, killing themselves, and the parents saying, I don't know what to do. And I've got a video I put up about a year and a half or 2 years ago that I went stark raving mad because this kid got bullied, and there's no call for it. If the parents have the internet available, you can go find somebody. It doesn't have to be Chris Warner, Christopher Rausch, or Scott Goyette. It can be anybody who knows what they're doing. And here's the thing. I think you should probably be a little concerned about the way they do it. That you're going to find success and discomfort. You gentlemen know that. That's where you find success and discomfort. Yeah. And if somebody comes on and they're like, holy shit, what is that? Then you should probably call or email that dude and at least find out what that lady and find out what they're offering. But again, before we even get to this throwing fist, let's start with clearing the noise first. And if you could do those things on a pretty regular basis every day, in my opinion, virtually in a year, if you could do them 5 days a week in a year, your son or daughter or you would be so confident that virtually no one would ever mess with you again.
That's awesome. Thanks, Chris. I mean,
so I'll shut up there. Sorry, I get off on a tangent there, but
no. I mean, that's brilliant information. What do you think about that, Scott?
Oh, that was no tangent. That was flawlessly laid out. Like you just nailed it. I mean, Chris knows, like, because we talk so much, as I'm listening to you speak, Chris, first and foremost, you just included mind, body, and spirit. I mean, you just essentially said massage the mind, body, and spirit to let them know that this is their existence. A lot of us try to hide, and say, oh, I'll never need to be physically strong because I'm smart. I'll never need to be whatever. And here's something I think people forget in this world a lot. You are the creator. You are the creator in this world. So if you're the creator, do you want to be a strong creator? Do you want to be a multifaceted creator or just one-dimensional? Like, think about it. If you're say that to yourself, and I know you're saying the same thing. You're the creator, period. So I want to be a balance of physically strong, mentally strong, and spiritually strong. I can't be one-dimensional, or how can I build? How can I be the creator? And so I love the point of what you're saying is, you prepare for the unexpected. So, I took boxing, I played football and basketball, things that allowed me I went same kind of thing. I was 160 pounds my senior year of high school, 205 pounds my freshman year of college, with the same thing, just drinking shakes and stuff. And I never got fatter. I was just all strength. So I remember coming back playing sports against kids you hadn't seen. They were like, who is this guy?
Who are you?
Yeah. And to your point, like, I never thought I was worried about strength, but I remember when I was moving those kids around on the court like they were children, because I'm a lot stronger, where I'm leaning back on them. I'm like, okay. And there is a confidence that comes with that. And then of course you'd make a few stupid comments, get punched in the face a few times, because you're leveling up and going, now I'm tough. And you're like, wait a minute, my mouth still preceded me. I need to shut my mouth. So I got a couple scars on my face for that. But again, you don't die, you don't die. And that's something that, when I do some of the anti-bullying training stuff that I've done in schools, I do a lot of the proactive stuff too. And a lot of kids say, well, what if this kid attacks me? Or what if this kid hurts me? And we do that. You nailed the question, Chris, you nailed it. So you have two choices. What do you think getting punched in the face feels like? And they're like, it's scary. I don't want to do it. And you go, what do you think getting bullied for your whole life feels like? Which would you rather have? And everyone goes to this hand.
Yep.
But people don't weigh it that way. They say, all I see is this, and just say, I promise you that might not even happen. That person might back down. They might be, and if it does, there's a really scary moment, but it's one moment in time, and then it's gone. And then you have your entire future in front of you. And that's something that takes coaching, takes inspiration, takes meditation, takes creation. There's a lot to it. And I love the fact that, Christopher, we've talked about, for me, sports is huge. That was my thing. Yeah. And so, like you said, Chris, that football coach who kind of pointed their finger at my chest and I thought my sternum was going to snap. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that coach would maybe do a few extra suicides because I wouldn't shut up on defense trying to harass that other kid. And he said, that's not how we play with respect. Thank you. So there's a lot of stuff we need to do proactively. We can see when we look at the leadership in our world right now that we haven't been doing that effectively. A lot of kids don't want to get that punch to the face. A lot of kids are hiding, and kids, when I say kids, that's a Boston term. That's adults. That's everybody.
Sure.
That's everybody. Right now, so many people want to play keyboard warrior. We could go into right this second. You won't see it in my feeds because I'm very respectful, even when I adamantly disagree and might want to punch someone in the face. You'll never know it. But there's a lot of people who will open their mouth and I'm like, I doubt you would ever say that in real life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot we've got to work with here, because I mean, I know you've done it too. Internet bullying is a huge thing. In-person bullying is a huge thing. Bullying from, in the corporate workspace is a huge thing. So I'm on board with you. Those 5 things that you said, I hope we need to put those in the comments so that people start plugging in and doing them and get your book, because I can't agree with what you said more. I think it was right on point.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of comments already. Megan Watson says, as a high school female, this is interesting. I thought this was really cool. Thank you for sharing this, Megan. As a high school female, sometimes bullying and flirting are blurred lines. That's a new dynamic that I have not ever considered. And I've thought about this and researched it and talked about it a little bit, not a little bit, of a lot. But that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Our friend Patricia's in the house. Patricia, thank you for being here. Patricia says, no one has power over your self-worth. Not everyone deserves to know you, but look out when you unleash your dignity and self-respect. Yes. You just start operating in the vibration that you're meant to be, and shit starts showing up and things get a hell of a lot easier. So thank you for sharing that, Patricia. Charles says, I'm back. I'll be toggling between this. Oh, I'll be talking. Okay. What do you mean you're toggling, dude? This is serious stuff. Yeah, we'll extend you grace. Patricia goes on to say, when the mind is vandalized, take the robbers out with your greatest tool, meditation. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. What's crazy, guys, is like I was thinking about this up until last year. Meditation, I was like, okay, that's something that, those calm, peaceful people do, and And then I really started digging into like, okay, what are the key attributes of successful people? And every single person, hands down, said meditation. I was like, okay, I got to get into that. I got to just change my perspective about that. Yeah, just gotta make it happen. So I love the fact that you're both are saying that. Define yourself, don't live by. Yes, hope is your sword. Ooh, sword. Yes. It's so impactful, because I mean that situation of bullying could have really set the tone for the rest of my life. I could have just been like, okay, I'm supposed to be seen and not heard and everything. But yeah, it was out of that sheer desire to like, okay, I don't want to live the rest of my life like this. And then realizing, after talking to some bullies, realizing that they were just as insecure as I was, or they were just as scared as I was, or they were acting out on actions that their parents took. That's another thing that kind of gave me like, okay, these people aren't all bad. Chris Swarner and I could almost pass as biological brothers. I feel like I'm looking at myself watching him. Warriors alike. Nice. Thank you for being here. It says broadcast interrupted. Preach it, brother Scott. Preach it, brother Scott. I want to read something here, which I found interesting, just for the state of bullying, that really captures kind of what the vision I had for this conversation based on the input that I got from you guys. And it says here, the American Psychological Association defines bullying as, quote, a form of aggressive behavior in which someone intentionally and repeatedly causes another person injury or discomfort. Bullying can take a form of physical contact, words, or more subtle actions, end quote. A bully can be an aggressive juvenile, an intimidating boss or a colleague, a controlling romantic partner, an unruly neighbor, a high-pressure sales or business representative, a condescending family member, a shaming social acquaintance, or those in a variety of other types of abusive relationships. I just thought that was such a great encapsulation, because sometimes we think like, again, bullies are in schools, but bullies are all around us in the cyber world and everything else. What do you guys think about the fact that from where our generation, we only had bullying like at school, but now we have cyberbullying and everything like that. What's your thoughts on that, Chris? Because I know you've been passionate about that as well.
We were watching, my wife and I were watching the show, the Santa Clarita Diet, which I started it before and we're catching up on it. And the daughter in it is actually pretty confident. So much so that she helps this girl who gets bullied at school. This kid starts texting shit to everybody in the whole school, and everybody's looking at their phone and laughing, and the girl's over there by herself now, and got kids over with his buddies. And this chick gets tired, throws the stuff off her tray, walks over and whaps him right in the face. I mean, knocks him out. And then just walks over and sits down next to the girl, and she's like, how are you? Are you okay? And, I laughed. Why? Because here's the thing. I think you exercise diplomacy until diplomacy can no longer be exercised, and then you got to choose some other options. Now, this girl got threatened with expulsion, and then she got suspended or whatever. Now, granted, it's the deliverer too, because if I would have done that, I'd be in handcuffs, right? This girl's petite, 5 feet tall, maybe 100 pounds, maybe, but that's what I was referencing earlier is getting these kids early and channeling that energy, because as an adult or even as a big kid, like Chris with the kid that you dealt with, I mean, if you didn't stop, brother, you might be in prison right now. I mean, even as a kid, they may have just transferred, no matter what happens. But back to your question, I was telling my wife, shaking my head, I'm like, I am glad we did not grow up with social media and that kind of stuff, because yeah, I can't believe what these kids are going through, and to a point, not even being able, and these kids being allowed to hide behind, as Scott put it earlier, their keyboards. I mean, the way I was raised in Texas, raised as a military brat. You know what? The way I would handle my boys if I had sons, if you're gonna bitch and moan too much, I got some wraps and some gloves. We're heading to the backyard. I got headgear and mouthpieces. We're gonna work this shit out. Well, y'all want to fight? Look, let's fight. We're gonna be controlled, but let's get it out. Let's just get this done with. If I would have been in that school and you had a teacher that could do something, you take those 2 kids, and that kid gets what he's expected. I don't. It's sad that we as adults, this liability world we live in now, that nobody can do anything to hold a standard. That's how I'm going to put it, because that's how I believe it. It's not punishment. It's not making someone pay, but it's sad that we as a society keep lowering and lowering and lowering our standards to where anybody can get away with anything and there's no repercussion. I don't understand until someone snaps and kills somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, why'd they do that? Well, did you live with them the last whatever years of their life and see the torture that they went through? Any reasonable person can be pushed to the brink. And I mean, now kids are being raised with all this. You and I, us three are lived long enough. We've lived post or pre-texting, social media, and post, and now they're growing up with it, so they don't know any different. And we can separate some douchebag on the internet mouthing off. But the real big thing I would say, and I'll wrap it up, is we get what we focus on. And if parents can teach kids not to focus on that shit, then I think they would have happier kids. I know it's a challenge because every kid's walking around with a cell phone, but you're the parent. Now, I got to put a disclaimer here. I don't have kids, so I'm speaking from a different place. I got you. But if you came over to Uncle Chris's house, it'd be a different story. Just saying.
I love it. I love it. What do you think about that, Scott?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I was listening to you, and I know this is a horrible statement, especially for a woman who were watching. But I always said that if I had a boy, because initially I thought I was having a boy, during the ultrasound, they said we're having a boy, and then like a month later I found out I'm having a girl. So I've already that kid's gonna be a quarterback on Friday nights, get 30 points a game. He's gonna be boxing. Like I had the whole thing. I was gonna push him down the stairs to make him tougher. Like I mean, my wife was like, "You're the most ridiculous human being in the face of the earth." Then all of a sudden I find out I'm having a girl. I'm like, "Are you okay? Do you want it?" And so I'm probably the worst parent organically, because I thought that as a male I didn't understand what you need to do to empower. So I was super protector. And my daughter would say stuff like, "I don't need help with that. I can do that." And finally I was like, wait a minute, this was all about me thinking this is a role I have to play. And now I step off and I treat her exactly like she would be as a guy. If she's crying, I'm like, hey, work through that. I'm like, feel what you feel. If you're upset with somebody, what are you going to do to fix it? And there was a long time where my mindset, again, you go to those things that we've been, dealt with, like to the point, men from our generation have this thing that we have to fix all women's problems. And any woman who's listening right now is going, instead of just saying, I hear you, I appreciate you, I listen to you, and supporting them and empowering them. And with other guys, we say, shut up, stop being a baby. We always want to be condescending almost. Like there's some medium where, to your points, Chris, how are we supportive and, empowering and teaching people to have that level of awareness so you come prepared, but still a great human being? like somebody might never know that Chris can defend himself because you don't have that behavior. There's a confidence, like you're nailing it. That meditation, that coming to the table without the noise, just bringing you. People don't want to harass that person. And I've noticed that as it's very funny. And I bet you guys have seen this. As you gain confidence and as you become a bigger energy, and I'm not talking about a physical person, an energy, no one ever messes with you because your attention is in the right place. I can't tell you the last time, even playing basketball, where I'm like, hey, you know what? I was being kind of a jerk. I apologize. Like, no, dude, you're cool. Like, there's something in my energy where they were just like, I'm like, no, I wasn't cool. I'm like, thanks for being cool with me. And there's times where I'm like, you get to that space. And when I was listening to your benchmarks for how to do that, Chris, in that book, I think people sometimes need an instruction manual. So I really like what you're saying, and I'd love to dive even more deeply into those parts. Like the one you were talking about, like writing things down or creating or building. I love all of them, but that's one I'm very interested in because the meditation's crucial. But what am I doing to get rid of all this crap? Because you don't want to take that stuff with you because it's like a dog. They sense the fear. People sense this is the guy I want to mess with. They sense that noise, that crap. And when you walk into a room, I bet no one even thinks to do it just because that's not my guy. Because we are energy. And so what do we do with that? Like, let's talk about that migration from being bullied to being a confident person who's not bullied. And more important, is a beacon of light to make sure bullying's not a thing. Like, what's that migration look like? Timetable, like how quickly can we make it happen? How specifically does it happen? Again, like I think that's what everybody wants to understand because there's people being bullied as adults right now.
Yes. And then you guys said something really important earlier that is like my sticking point in all of this. And you said parent. And so I want to get your guys' take, and I want to get all your guys' take in the chat about this because it's something I feel very passionate about. I remember bowling for Columbine, and I remember in the documentary that people were sitting there. I would tell the kids. And one of my favorite parts was Marilyn Manson, the guy that they thought was the one that caused it by his music. They said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I wouldn't tell him anything. I would just listen." And that always has stuck with me in the fact that yes, we don't do enough listening, especially as parents. We're telling like, this is the way, this is my expectation for your behavior. This is my expectation for this. And, I look at it as a responsibility. I look at it like if I think about Jackson going to school and he's going to be, he's already going to be a big kid. So I'm very thankful for that, but I never want him to use that as a ploy. I like, for me, like I said, I'm bigger. So I haven't had people mess with me. So I'm thankful for that. But I envision one day where some kid's going to bully him or pick on him. And I'm not going to want to whoop the kid's ass. I'm going to go want to whoop over to the parents' house and whoop their ass for creating a bully. Now, what do you guys think about? And we were talking about, trying to find, where do we start with this? Why are parents allowing their kids to be bullies? I mean, obviously I've heard horror stories like these kids are getting bullied on cyber and everything. They go talk to the kid, they talk to the parents, and the parents go, "Oh, we'll work on it." But then the kid never fucking changes. I mean, how do we get through on that situation? What do you guys think? I'll grab a couple of comments for. Hang on one sec.
I don't want to take over the whole thing, Chris. You got a lot of good stuff to share. So like we can all talk all day. I'm sure we've got good info. So
yeah. No, it's Chris is right. It's being tough is not being a bully. It's learning to have a backbone. Exactly. Yeah. Charles says one of the orphanages I lived in used to have us put on boxing gloves and duke it out when had issues. Oh yeah. I took two of my workers. I can tell this now. I took two of my staff one time when I was a first-time supervisor, and they kept hammering each other like, nah, just that bickering. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick your ass. I'm going to kick. One day I lost my shit and I grabbed both of them and took them outside in the parking lot. I said, go for it. Go for it. Shut the fuck. Go for it. Well, we're getting, I don't care. I'll take the heat for it. Just start punching the shit out of each other right now. You fucking bam, bam. They both backed down. They both never did shit again. It was awesome. So sometimes you just got to call that crap out and just like, what are you guys doing? Donato says, I don't have problems with physical bullying. A lot of what I experienced increased as a result of spiritual growth, somehow caused me to dealt with narcissists. I went inside to grow and spiritually now I'm close to an empath with an attitude, I guess, seems I'm attracting more sociopath type people. That's an interesting, because now everybody's looking at you as kind of like the healer, like, oh, okay, we're gonna come test that newfound strength that you have. But yeah, and then one more comment here. Charles says, if we didn't hit the boxing ring, we'd be sent to the pool to swim laps until we were worn out. Unfortunately, we were made to swim. What the hell? We were made to swim naked, and I found out decades later that the headmaster priest, I don't know if I'll read the rest of this, or if it is known as a pedophile, I never said it. Okay. That's a little bit more bullying than I wanted to talk about tonight. But so what do you guys think about that? Parents being involved, being responsible. To what account should they be responsible if their kid does bodily or physical, emotional damage to some other kid? Should they be held accountable and responsible?
So it's real quick. I'll go just a little bit with this, and I'll pass this to Chris. This is a big issue where we're fixing symptoms. And realistically, and I'm sure Chris would agree with this too, is bullying is a symptom of other things. Of course, we're titling it that so people come to us as experts. But at the end of the day, we really are saying the same things. What you said with those 5 principles, those 5 things to do, that could just be a fantastic routine for a successful person. It's the same thing. It's beautiful. I think that one of the things that happens with parents is we're caught up in this system that we have 2 parents, 2 people working in the family. The communication's not there. We're exhausted. We're letting the kids sit on social media. Everyone's torn. And here's the thing. The solution to all this is, first and foremost, education, but we're already into it. So how do we unlearn? How do we give the parents a chance to communicate in the few free moments they have? And what do we do? Tell them to stop having kids or whatever? We're in a really crappy situation right now because we're sending kids to school and saying, hey, you help my kid figure this stuff out because I don't have time. They come home, they spend the 2 minutes at dinner, or the mom gets the time or the dad gets the time or one or the other because everyone's working 5 jobs. And honestly, we're in a really bad situation. So what I would do is exactly what Marilyn Manson said, is I would, at the very least, if we're going to put something on the parents, is say, tell me what happened in your day. Everybody can find 15 minutes with your freaking kid. Tell me what happened in your day. Yes. Realistically, when I stop and I say, okay, how's your day going? What do you think they first say? Good. No, tell me about your day. Oh, my teacher was this, whatever. Tell me more about that. Within 3 minutes of a few questions, decent probes, they're telling you what's going on, and then you can work together with them. And that bullying is just emotion of my parents aren't here, or I don't know what I'm feeling, or what about how many kids nowadays are admitting they're gay or trans, whatever the thing is. There's more kids who are like coming out, and there's massive confusion. When we were kids, you hid in one direction or another, and like 20 years later, you're like, oh, he's got divorced, he's gay. I always thought he was gay, but nobody defined that. Now we've got this thing where everyone's torn up inside, and no one has a place to talk, and we're scared crapless to say anything because it gets spread like wildfire in social media. And few of us have good one-on-one friends that we can sit and have trust. And that's where I think we're screwed. Does that make sense, Chris? Or
oh yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Yep. I definitely agree. For me, I'll go back to what I was saying just a little while ago, is if we, as at least in America, held each other all the way from the top down to a certain standard, then I think there would be a trickle-down effect. Because there would be, and again, I'm going to use some words that will make people uncomfortable during this time we're talking, but it would force, in a certain way, however it's angled in there, the trickle-down effect to occur. Because my wife and I, and this kind of drives me crazy, and again, I'm speaking, and I'll put this disclaimer out there, I'm speaking as a non-parent, but isn't it amazing how you have to have a license to drive a car, you have a license to cut hair, do nails, own a gun, all kinds of things, but you ain't got to do shit to have a life and affect it for its entire life. My thing is, if you make that choice, man the fuck up. I'm sorry, I get a little passionate about this a little bit, but it's so sad how folks will have kids. And as Scott says, that I ain't got time. Well, why the fuck did you have a kid if you ain't got time for it? Again, I know we all have challenges in life. We all got our crosses to bear. But I don't have children for a choice, a reason. I have a career I chose, and I knew that if I went on this path, a couple things could happen, and there could be modifications, but generally a couple things. I could have a kid and turn my back on something that's very important to me and resent that kid possibly. Or I could have the kid and do my thing and never be a great father. And the third option is I chose not to have it and be okay with that. But we're getting to a point where now other people's children are becoming my responsibility depending on the situation. No, be a parent to your child. Take time out. And Scott, and what you're referencing, sit down and when you speak to your child, be involved in their life so much that you already know the answer to what the fuck they're going to say.
Yes.
Because they'll know that kids got bullshit meters better than anybody on the planet.
Yes,
so when you say, "Hey, how was your day?" No. Hey, what about Janet? You told me about last Thursday. What's going on with that?
Bingo.
See, I know exactly what's going on in your life because when we do talk, I pay attention, and I pay attention when we don't talk. It's because I'm your father, and it's my fucking responsibility to know about your life. It is. The other shit is not important. Now we got to eat and I got to work and we got to eat and put a roof over our head. But ultimately I had you because I wanted to have you and I wanted to influence you. If there's anything that can happen, you can build mini bees if you want to. But so many people want the world to raise a fucking kid. And then they get mad over what comes home. And then they check you out on social media cussing somebody out at fucking HEB or wherever you're at, Rausch or wherever. You know, what's the old weed commercial? Hey, why are you doing these drugs? Am I watching you, Dad? And nobody pulls any punches on social media. What they say, what they do. And if you're a parent of someone, your kids are seeing that. So you can't lie to them. But you can't lie to them anyway, even face to face. And they're only going to mimic what they're taught, whether you teach it to them or don't. And so back to kind of bring it around, if we would just hold everybody to a standard, and I mean hold them to a standard, I believe maybe we wouldn't get the bullying that we're getting on this massive scale. Again, whether it's physical or cyber or whatever. If you kept track of your kids' social media and you came across some bullying, I don't have a problem taking a hammer to an iPhone right in front of them. I don't.
You got to learn today.
I bought the fucking phone. It's actually not your phone. It's mine. I'm letting you use it.
Right.
That's another thing kids don't think of when they're bullying. Oh, look at my car. Look at my clothes. Look at my phone. Did you mean my clothes and my phone? Because I bought them. I'm letting you use them. Until you're 18, leave a check on the fucking table for rent. They're mine. But again, I'm speaking from not having kids, but speaking of what you said, Scott, I think my little girl would be the baddest little girl on the block, man. She'd be knocking little boys out because I would be ultimate. I mean, I'd be like twice as much want to get her shooting a gun, learn martial arts and stuff. Because as I said earlier, there's two things I put on this planet for. It's to entertain, and it's also to not only protect people who can't, but to teach people how to protect themselves, because it's much more powerful. Somebody throws a punch at you and you block it than me blocking it. Look at the face of a bully. If he throws a punch at you and you block his punch, look right in his eyes. You just stole his power.
100%.
He will never touch you again. And you didn't throw a punch. All you did was block his. And if a little 4'5", 85-pound girl does that, and then she puts you in an arm bar and breaks your arm, you're definitely not doing anything.
You're humbled.
And it can happen. And I know, again, this is the part where it makes some people listening uncomfortable. And I respectfully say, I don't care. The reason I say that is because that's the risk you need to take to make sure your little girl or boy doesn't either become a bully or get bullied. I mean, those are some big choices you got to make. But you know what a big choice you made was? Is to have a child.
Yep. To be there present with them. I mean, that's the thing that gnaws at me when there's a school shooting and they go and interview the parents. Like, we had no idea Johnny was so upset. It's like, where the fuck does Johnny live? In your house? Is it like 2 bedrooms down from you? You don't go in your kid's bedroom and like conversate with them? No, I mean, that's the same thing. I'm with you, Chris. I mean, I didn't want kids for the longest time. And I thought, okay, that's a huge responsibility. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I want to have that experience to be able to set that person in motion to make a difference in the world and carry on that legacy. But that's a requirement. That's just, I mean, like, I had to sacrifice my career in speaking and everything for a while when we first got Jackson, but I sit there and look at it as like, okay, I take personal responsibility for who this little man becomes. And if he goes to school and he's a dick, then that's on me. Then I need to figure out why I'm a dick or what I'm showing him that it's okay to be a dick. And again, most people don't realize like that. Like I just talked to my wife the other day and I'm like, we got to stop with the news and all the politics and the conversation in the house. Yes, it's informative. Yes, it's educational. Yes, it's this, but the connotation of the passion and the meaning is coming out as anger. And if he just continues to hear that, is that going to shape his belief about, oh, that's, okay, those kinds of things. We have to take responsibility for that. And Patricia says right here, she says, don't be a bystander parent. Yeah. They sit there and I've talked to so many teachers, and Scott, you're a professor. I mean, I've talked to so many teachers where the parents come in there like, my little girl's being this, why don't you fix it? And like, the teacher's like, you're the parent. I'm just teaching them 2 + 2. You're the one that's supposed to be teaching them, hey, don't go punching other people because they have a better, knapsack than you. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Patricia says parents might know what's right, but doesn't mean anything unless they do right by action. Sadly, not all parents are equipped with the self-knowledge or mindful skills. So true. When I sit there and I talk about, when people come to me for coaching, I ask them pretty quickly, do you have kids? And they'll say yes or no, or, how old are your kids? Especially if they're young. I'm like, do you believe that by the actions that you're taking right now and the decisions you're making and being stressed out and all these, do you think you're setting a good example for your kid? Would you want your kid to be like this when they're your age? And just trying to use that as a why and being a part of that to look inward. I mean, Scott and I are always talking about, first love, self-love is the first love. And if you don't have that for yourself, then how can you project that to your kids, right?
Hey, Chris, I got one question you could add to that phrase there, if you'd like. It says, if you died today, would you be your kid's hero?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm cool with that answer. I feel good about that one.
Yeah.
Feel really good about that.
I do.
That's a big one because I want my kid. I would. If they asked my kid, I had one. I went to school where anybody said that, hey, who's your hero? I'd want them to say my dad and like mean it from the bottom of their heart. Mm-hmm. How many kids could you stand up in school right now and they say that about their parents? I don't know. I don't know the answer. I like to know. Mm-hmm. I can't say it would be high. I just guessing here, but
I would first and foremost.
For one, they may not know their parents, much less know them enough to be a hero. So if they say Captain America. Got some work to do.
Or a football player.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Exactly. No, I mean, I always push kids to say that they're their own hero first. And then when you say, where do you get the skill sets or, where do you find the tools? And I'd love to see when that links back to a parent or somebody who's involved in raising them, of course.
Yeah.
It could be a grandparent, whatever. But somebody who's directly involved. And that's when I feel like things are being done right. And I love when they say they're not perfect. And they're this and they're that, and they tell the truth. And sometimes it almost sounds like silly because I think that's beautiful. So you found the imperfections, but you saw the effort and you saw the energy and all the good. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and we show that too, in our house, like we show everything. And sometimes she's like, you guys aren't like other parents. And we say, would you rather switch? I go, honestly, who would you rather live with? She goes, no. I'm like, all right, then just shut up. But yeah, she's, again, I think that it's not easy. And to your point, Chris, again, I really don't know why our educational system doesn't really talk about what A to Z looks like in our lifetime. And, you can be amazing at your trade. You could be a teacher, you could be a lawyer, attorney, whatever you want to be. If you don't want kids and that's not part of that, then think about that when you're having sex. Think about that when you're doing things to procreate. And I don't think people are doing it. And we can blame different groups or whatever. That's not important. But we need to infiltrate the education system to tell people the truth about finance, to tell people the truth about what parenting looks like, to tell people the truth about how to find your brilliance and not just follow a road because someone said you're good at math, so you should do that. And I mean, I think there might be one or two of my students here right now. And they probably think I have the craziest class they've ever taught because I'm constantly talking about these things. Mm-hmm. I'm constantly talking about how you can be the best you possible, how you can find your brilliance, how you don't need to pass it, blame to anybody else because it starts with you. And they're kind of shaken up by it. Like, why has nobody ever taught us this? And I'm like, exactly. And so it's never too late. It could be through your book. It could be through one of my classes, could be through the show, but collectively we need to educate from the ground up. So this isn't some brand new info at age 20 or age 30. This is ingrained in us at 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, that we know this is how my behaviors will be because I don't or do want that, period.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yep. No, I mean, it's such a great conversation, you guys. I want to switch gears for just a second and talk about the other aspect of it is the bullying that we're seeing now with adults. Look at you guys. Yeah. Double. Woo-hoo, right on cue. Go Texas. Even though Chris lives out here in California. Ooh,
yeah, but he's got that Texas feel. We can still shoot guns together. You're like, there's still something here.
Yeah, get her done. Anyways, moving the conversation a little bit to more adult stuff that's going on. That's why I wanted to read that description, because do you guys feel that there's bullying going on Facebook between older generations, with having different opinions about things? We don't have to get into the specifics, but do you see that as a form of bullying when people sit there and say, if you guys have a belief about this, then you're this? Do you think that's a form of bullying?
Chris, yeah.
No, you go, Chris, because I want to hear you on this one. I mean, me and Chris talk about this all the time. So,
man, I tell you what, dude. I've got. So let's take Facebook. I got friends that are far right. I got friends that are far left. And sometimes for shits, and maybe this is wrong of me, and I apologize in advance, but sometimes I'll put one of those polarizing questions on my wall and get some popcorn and just kick back and watch the fucking circus happen. Because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. And I read something the other day, and I think it was my buddy out here. I can't remember who posted it, but he put a kind of a meme up that talked about, and I've kind of got this general philosophy too. If I've known you for years, man, I came over to your house, I slept on your floor, I picked you up in the rain, we did things together, or whatever it is, that's who you know. That's me. That's who was there. And I put something up like, hey, it's me and my boys shooting at the range. And you have some other belief in that. I'm just going to put that out there. Kind of put a little gray area right now. And all of a sudden, you either rip into me or you defriend me or unfriend me or whatever. You never knew the me that helped you in the rain. You weren't paying attention. So here's my thing. You never deserved to be my friend. So, you know what? If we don't ever talk again, man, that's your loss. And I don't say that from any cockiness or arrogance, but that's who I am. The person who helped you or slept on your floor, you slept on my floor, or whatever it is, that's who I am. What you judged me on was something I did. Yeah. So what I'm seeing a lot of is people becoming 30-year, not being friends anymore after 30, 40 years because of something either they're doing or a direction they took and an assumption of who they are. I'm not going to have any kind of discussion worth meaning over some fucking social media anyway. You and I need to talk. Let's grab a beer, a glass of wine, some barbecue, and let's talk. Let's get emotional. I'm okay with that, man. I'm okay with me. If I'm crying, I'm crying. If I got to let you know how I feel, I want you to know how I feel. And if that still makes you uncomfortable, at least we got it all out there.
Yeah.
But for you and me to have some kind of serious relationship ending conversation, which I don't even have over social media, maybe we didn't have that. We didn't have a relationship to start with. And it breaks my heart when I see, it don't happen to me a lot, but when I see other friends, I'm friends with both of them or whatever, I'm like, what the fuck just happened there? Mm-hmm. Something that didn't go to the end. And again, it brings me back to the S word, standards. We're not holding each other to standards, man. Mm-hmm. And it breaks my heart. I think it used to make me mad or upset me. It just breaks my heart when I see that kind of stuff now, man.
It's a waste. I mean, it's such an unbelievable waste. I did this thing where I talked about throwing the baby out with the bathwater and like just really like considering, you know, because I deal with it in every aspect of my life, like you said, both right and left. And it's like, you know, yeah, you may disagree with that person on this particular situation, but what about the fact that, you know, they donate, you know, thousands of dollars every year to help homeless kids in America? How about if they do these things? And how about if this other aspect of them is really, really cool, and you're just saying, oh, because you have a different belief than I do, then that's and then to sit there and say, I'm just going to ostracize you without having that conversation, Chris. And I'm so glad you said that, because so many people are like, oh, I talked to so-and-so today. I'm like, did you talk to him or did you text with him? Like, I texted. Well, just say text, because talking to me is like having a physical conversation, because in case you guys don't know, I know you guys know, but 85% of all communication is body language and tonality. So how can you expect, like you said, Chris, how can you expect to have a serious conversation about important issues like we used to do in the old days over dinner or whatever, and agree to disagree, and sometimes, you know, walk away from it a little frustrated, but we never said, oh, I'm going to defriend you tomorrow. We were like, okay, I'm not going to talk about politics with that asshole anymore. And that's all we did. And then we still hung out and drank beers and did everything else. It's crazy that people sit there and they make these assumptions, like you said as well, on these judgments, but without having the full-on conversation and understanding what path that person went down. I've seen people that are far right, and that's all they've ever had in their entire family. That was the conditioning from little kids. You know, they were just, everything was just that, and that's what they grew up with. And now they're just starting to kind of like go, oh shit, there's other perspectives. And oh geez, if I watched CNBC for 2 weeks, I would probably think like them. Or if I watched Fox News for a week, I would think like them. Understanding what the path that person's been in is a much greater value than just knocking them off because they have a different opinion. That's the way I look at it.
And I think something that we're all saying is very crucial is that you know, back to the first thing that we talked about that Chris said, is standing up for yourself and realizing you've got to be strong for you. So in other words, you're your own hero. You are the one. You're what matters here. So the minute you love yourself enough to be strong and be that creator, you're not aligning to any of these groups at all. You're looking at an issue by issue, and you're going, well, that was cool. I'm glad he did that. Well, that was stupid. And that's it. And that's the thing, is we've so staunchly aligned with our perception of what a group is that people are really confused with their identities. And it's that simple. And it's heartbreaking, as you brought up, to watch it happen. Because part of the bullying is, think of this. Let's just use the words that people are using. When you say deplorables to a certain group, you might think these people are making no sense and there's no integrity in a group. But when you call somebody a deplorable and then say, change, I don't know, but if you came up to me and said you're a complete asshole, okay, change, you're probably either going to get in a fight with me. Nothing good's going to come, but I'm going to be like, good point, I'm an asshole. So how do we work through this? Do you have 5 steps for me? No, that's not what's going to happen. So how can we call an entire group that, or how can you look at a group in inner city and keep saying, look at Chicago, look at Chicago? Oh, certainly, I would absolutely love to change for you right now. You know, there's so many things that have gone into what's making us go down these roads. And it's got to start with everything that we talked about. It's that hope component. It's once we give people hope, then they know that they're not what you're saying, because they're strong on the inside and they'll start to align to issues. Then we won't have the mirror that we're seeing of the collective US in these 2 leaders. How could we possibly look at the 3 people here right now? Every single person on this call, on this show right now, would be a better leader than what we have, because would have standards, would work our ass off, would do what's right. So how are those the 2 that are representing the 3 of us and, you know, 300 something million people in America? It's crazy. And it all goes to your 5 points could exactly be how we build our routine to strengthen ourselves, to set standards, to eliminate the noise, be strong, be creators, and none of this is occurring.
Mm-hmm.
Or we could use the love and the fear model, or Chris's no excuses. It's all the same shit. And everyone's going, but he's bad. He's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's stupid? All of us who are saying that. Let's come back to here. Let's be present. Let's be in love with each other. Let's have dinner and cry. Let's have dinner and get mad. Make sure you bring the wine. Sounds like a much better life, doesn't it? And all is about coming back to presence, and we've forgotten that. And I think, you know, just to get to that point, the minute we love and extend that love outside of just us as an individual enough, and we remove that lack of hope in so many. So when we inspire, all of this stuff goes away. And it's got to start with educating. It's got to start with talking about responsibility of parenting. It's got to start with inspiring confidence. I mean, a lot of this isn't rocket science. It's just take the individual steps to start with me, to start with my kids, to have Uncle Chris over to make sure that my kid's not being a jerk, all that stuff. So yeah, that's where I feel like we're at, guys. And I feel like we can do it, and we will do it together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes. I mean, geez, some great conversations, some great stuff. What would you like to add to the conversation, Mr. Warner? I know you've got a lot of different passionate feelings about this stuff, but what's something that's top of mind for you right now to get out and to share?
You know, one thing I didn't touch on earlier, and I'm glad we circled back to this, is meditation. So I grew up in Texas, football player and Army brat. So machismo was in my DNA. There's no doubt about that shit. You know, suck it up, son, walk it off kind of thing, right? So everything Western was embraced. And so as I got to be an adult and became a student of life, you learn that the world is bigger. Even though I was an Army brat, you know, it's different as a kid. It's filtered as a kid. As a human or as an adult, you get everything. And then, of course, the internet came on not short after. And then it definitely exposed you to things like Eastern medicine and just things of the world. And, you know, I remember I was in healthcare before I became an actor. I was going to be a physical therapist. And even the physical therapy in Western medicine is taught, get hurt, then we fix you. And then you start learning about Eastern medicine and let's not get hurt. Let's stay healthy. And I think I've read somewhere, whether this is true or not, how maybe in China, you pay your doctor until you get sick, then you stop paying him because his job is to keep you healthy, not get sick. But the point being is, you know, around some of my PD friends and stuff, how they kind of call, you know, woo-woo chiropractors and people who did a different kind of other medicines to get you better. And, you know, I won't lie, I was one of those guys who kind of joined in. So to cut to the chase, you know, probably 10 years later, I finally started embracing meditation. And I remember my wife got me a meditation kit from I think it was Bill Harris, HoloSync for Christmas, like 8 or 10 years ago. And Bill almost jacked himself up permanently by doing it all at once. He kind of was the guinea pig of it all, but you know, it stepped out. And I can tell you this, gentlemen, that so to back it up a little bit more, and I'll try to synopsize it here a little bit. Is I was raised as a guy who, if you're a good kid and you get good grades, then things will be good. Things will work out. And I don't think it was so much a fantasy as much as it was kind of just a philosophy that maybe had been taught and taught again, right? But then when I got the real world, guess what? That's not the case. The real world started punching back. And with every punch, I got more pissed off and got more angry and pissed off and angry and pissed off and angry. And that's where the kid who took the punches before wasn't taking punches no more. But unfortunately, there came a tipping point to where it wasn't healthy. And I knew I needed to get away from it. So by embracing the meditation, cut to the chase, got the meditation, started using it. And I can tell you this honestly, gentlemen, as God is my witness. After the first 20 minutes utilizing HoloSync or whatever meditation I would have used, but HoloSync is what I used. When I opened my eyes, it scared me. I was so much at peace on the inside that it scared me.
Wow.
Like I hadn't been that peaceful since I was a child and had no worries. It was fucking scary. But, you know, learn to be cool. So real quick story, and I'll wrap it up here. So I've been meditating maybe 6 months, and I'm at the corner here in LA, and I'm on Fairfax turning north, or I'm on Santa Monica turning north on Fairfax. It's a pretty busy intersection. Mm-hmm. And the way we do it here in LA, for folks listening, if you don't live here, is the normal rule is when you pull out to an intersection to turn left, there's not a lot of turn signal lights, at least in Los Angeles. It's kind of yield to. So once you get 2 cars past the crosswalk, those 2 cars is accepted, kind of go before the rest of the traffic goes and the light turns red. Well, the gentleman in front of me, who was on his cell phone at the time, had pulled halfway over the crosswalk. And he was talking on his phone. Yep, light turned yellow, turned red. They didn't go. He starts to back up. And this is what I did with my hands. I just kind of did one of these. Didn't say anything. I was like, so he backs his car up and gets out. Now I'm driving a 94 RAV4 at that time. So it's a little dinky dorky car, right? Doesn't really represent my size, let's say. This guy gets out and he's probably 5'10", 160, 170 pounds. And my window's down. And he lays into me. Who the fuck, you get your fucking ass out of the car? And I was on the phone, hands free now, with my wife, and she goes, is he yelling at you? What's he saying? I said, yes, the guy's yelling at me. He got out of his car. She's like, you better kick his ass. Now, this is the same woman who 6 weeks ago or whatever had bought me meditation to calm down. Now, what's funny, guys, and this is a true story, that shit worked so well, I just went like this. Just get back in your car, man. And he's like, got back in his car and we left, right? But literally, that's how I felt when the guy before the meditation would probably be in jail right now. Why? Because if I hit someone, I'm going to jail, even if I just punch him once. I'm 6'1", 250, 275, and I get in the weight room. I'm not saying that to boast, but if I punch somebody, especially with some anger behind it, I'm going to go to jail, especially in a busy intersection like that. People are going to see it, and I can't afford that. That's why I do the other things to help channel the energy. But I wanted to tell you guys that story because I wanted to relay how powerful the first thing I want people to do is in the steps I teach. Is if this big ugly dude who has had a problem with anger can channel his things to just wave some off, who's yelling in his face, who probably needed to be backhanded, but, wasn't, maybe caught up with him later. I can tell you that it's best to channel that energy because going to jail and all the other stuff that comes with it is going to mess your life up if you allow it. And see, that's a control thing. I was going to add one more thing, and then in reference to what Scott was talking about. We can be on social media. We can even talk to other friends, but your life stops at your threshold. You can't control shit outside your door. The only thing you control is what's inside the threshold of your home. That's it. When you start worrying about controlling other shit outside of that, whether it's literally outside of your threshold or on Facebook or whatever, then you've allowed them to win. Them, whoever they are. Mm-hmm. Control your shit, and most things will go your way. Control your shit, and that's from your mind to your body to your soul, and most things will go your way. And if they don't, at least you'll probably be prepared to take that punch. And when you see the punch coming, I just step into the motherfucker. Just step into it. And here's why. People don't get that. So when you throw a punch, and Scott will probably say, actually, both of you, when you throw a punch, there's more power at the end of it. Because it's full bore then. But when you throw a punch and you're right here, you haven't gotten the chance to throw your full body into it. So I'm going to take it right here on the chin, take a little bit. And then the other thing, too, I'm already closer to you now. Now it's fucking on. Now we're going after it. But if I wait for you to punch me way out here, you're going to hit me with more power. You're going to rotate your hips, and you might knock me out. And then I don't have any control. But if I see you ball your fist and rear back, I'm just coming at you. Then whatever control there is to have, I have control of the situation initially. Now, it may go somewhere south along the way. But if I see the punch coming, I'm just going to go right into it. Let's go. Let's go. Actually, guys, I did that today. And I'm going to have to go do some apologizing to someone. But I stepped into a punch today. I saw it coming. I just said, fuck it. And I just stepped into it. I probably went with a little too much energy. And I'm going to have to, I'm paying for that. I'm going to have to pay for that. And I'll admit that, as a truth there. But yeah, those are the two things I want to touch on there. I don't know if that resonates with any one of you guys or not, but the meditation, how it really, really works. And then, and controlling what you control by maybe stepping into the punch when you see it.
So I'm going to echo that with the meditation because there's been a few things that I didn't buy into because, of course, one of the great things about sports is it teaches you some amazing life lessons. One of the bad things about sports, as taught to most young men, is it's so much about toughness that there's an illusion that anything you do that's not super physically tough is weakness. Instead of maybe there's a time to walk away, maybe there's a time to back down, maybe there's a time to take a rest. We never got those lessons. So meditation is the crash course to making that happen without a question. I remember going to a yoga class and somebody's like, we're going to sit for 60 minutes with our legs crossed and just go to oneness. And I still remember going, There's no way in hell I can. There's no way in hell I could. I literally was going to go crazy, but they shut the door, and I'm like, all right, I'll try. And I don't know how I did it, but for 60 minutes I sat there without moving. And like you said, when I was done, I was like freaked out. I was like, I was literally sitting there like everyone else is getting up and having tea, and I was blown away at myself. I was like, am I here? It was so peaceful and so freaky that I didn't go back again for a few months. And then you said HoloSync, because I did HoloSync. I've done binaural beats, all this stuff. I've done a bunch of these things, and every single one of them had a beautiful impact of balancing that right brain, left brain, and removing those emotions that have been compartmentalized. And my go-to was anger too. Some people sadness, some people guilt, shame, but and that anger is not needed. And that's one way to balance your being so that you can remove those in healthy ways, through sports, through boxing, through yard work, not in the middle of the street wanting to knock someone out, because those are real world situations. So I'll leave it at that. But everything you said on point. Love the 5 steps. They need to go out and get your book. I think it was beautiful.
Yep. The book is right here. Click on the link. All that, but because I just made the link a lot shorter. But hell yeah, gentlemen. And Patricia, of course, comes in and says, love when you can detach from someone else's crazy. It's so true. I mean, it's literally the fork in the road situation that, you know, all of us face, where it's like a fight or flight or a react versus respond. You know, that's why I tell people, when you go after somebody, what are you going to do? What are you hoping to achieve if you go after them and you attack them? And then what are they going to do? They're going to be fight or flight. They're going to react. They're going to have to protect themselves. And then all of a sudden you have an ensuing argument where nobody really listens. Everybody's just trying to get their point across, and it's a moot point. But no, what you guys have shared tonight, and thank you for sharing that, Chris. I mean, truly, I mean, that's what we need to be looking at within ourselves and within everybody else, and looking for how we're more similar than we are different, and being that bridge instead of a bridge burner. I mean, that's what I've been trying to do. And Scott and I have been talking about it. Some days I'm like, oh my God, I'm just going to lose my shit on people. And then I'm like, no. And now I've seen a couple other people from Scott's Go Live Now challenge, which, by the way, you guys got to make sure you're doing. I've seen some other people who were opinionated before. I've seen them kind of going over to the middle side too, and spreading, hey, let's not have difference of opinion. And I don't know what caused that, but I'm really excited to see that. So if I just see one person do it, then we could all be a part of the solution. But Chris, where can people get a hold of you and continue the conversation? Your social media, where can they get a hold of you and check you out? Poof.
Check me out. Probably the easiest place to go is my website, chriswarner.com, thechriswarner.com. All my socials are on there. So few of my socials are a little off. Usually it's at the Chris Warner, most of them. But if you just go to my website, you can link to my socials at the Chris Warner right there. There it is. thechriswarner.com shows you kind of mostly my career of what I've done. And then I don't think I have my books up there, because, to be honest with you, Chris, is you've probably seen it about 3 or 4 years ago. I kind of stepped away from really actively pursuing, or preaching, so to speak, or talking about the bullying. But I've definitely left my books up on Amazon, and because if one person, little boy, little girl, or an adult reads that and gets something out of it, I've accomplished what I need to accomplish with it. So I don't need to be a bestseller necessarily. I don't need that necessarily to get what I needed to get by writing the book, if I can help one person. So I don't have the links there, but Live Bully Proof is the name of the book.
I put it in
just
the,
put my name
in the comment.
put my name in Amazon. But the Chris Warner is where they can find out about who I am and what I'm about, and check out my big ugly face on some of those movies and TV shows if they're available online.
When does the one come out with Nick Cage you were talking about you did in January? Is that coming out yet?
It's a horror flick, and it's going to kind of be probably like a it's kind of a low budget horror thing. It was supposed to release, I believe, on Halloween, but I don't know if that's going to happen now with the way COVID has jacked up life. Yeah. It's probably getting pushed to 2021 is kind of what I heard last time, but they still hadn't made a decision. But it's called Willy's Wonderland. If they want to go on imdb.com or just kind of type that into Google, Willy's Wonderland is what it's called. And I play a pretty interesting character in that. Country bumpkin tow truck driver who helps find people to murder.
Oh, nice.
Great.
Does that guy meditate or no?
Yeah, absolutely, man. He has his morning tea, and he watches Kung Fu Panda is his favorite movie.
Perfect.
Actually, Kung Fu. Have you guys seen that movie?
It's a great movie.
Oh my
I have kids.
God, it's in my top 5, man.
On point. There's some kids movies that are great like that.
Oh, it's got so many layers.
Oh,
Damn, it's
yeah.
great. Oogway.
Uh-huh.
I love that movie. Anyway.
I agree. He had good parents, though.
Yeah, exactly. He did. His dad. Super dad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the dad, and he went back, and it was a very good movie. I liked it.
It's great.
Awesome, Chris. Well, brother, thank you so much for spending your Friday night with us and dropping some serious truth bombs and nuggets and just sharing your wisdom and your passion and your authenticity, man. That's what I fell in love with you before. And we'd love to have you back on the show and talk about other subjects as well. So keep that in mind if you're interested in that. Scott, final thoughts, brother?
I just love you guys. I'm going to let people off easy tonight. That's all.
Ooh.
Just throw some love out there. Oh, and I would love to have brisket with both of you guys. I heard him mention barbecue. Come back to Texas. Let's eat a lot of brisket. All of it. All the barbecue.
All of it. That's right. All of it. That's how much I want. All of it.
I want all of it too. I was thinking brisket first, but then I'm going to want more and more and more.
Yeah. We'll go out to Salt Lick, which I understand is not the best anymore. It's got to be Franklin's. I don't care, man. As long as it's good barbecue.
The Salt Lick's great. You can do all you can eat. And it's only 15 minutes from my house. I'm out down Southwest, so we can go there and just go crazy and eat until we can't see straight. Take an Uber.
And drink beer.
For me. There you go.
And drink beer. All right, guys, hang on for a second. Don't go anywhere. Oops. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Oh, boy. Thank you so much, Angel. Great show. Of course. Wow, there you go. Another Friday Night Live with myself and Scott Goyette and our special guest, Chris Warner, a dear friend of mine. Value and respect his passion and his energy and his authenticity. And if he did rub you wrong, then good. You know, we need to be rubbed wrong. I mean, iron sharpens iron. You guys have heard that quote before. You guys know where it comes from. We have to consider what it is that we can do in the course of our actions, in the course of our day, in order to perpetuate a better tomorrow for our kids. You know, that's one of the big whys. I was talking with somebody today from England, and she was asking me what my why was. I said, my why is my son. And she goes, in that way. And I said, no, my why is to leave a world that my son doesn't have to fix. My why is that my son can grow up and see somebody who is passionate about making the world a better place and continue that legacy, and hopefully bridge out other people can do it so other people can do it too, so that we don't have shows like this where we're talking about bullying, both with not only kids, but now with adults and everything else that's going on. If you're in one of those situations and one of those relationships, like we've said tonight, you know, go check out Chris's book and look at the 5 steps and incorporate those really seriously, because it's not like something you can just do for a couple of weeks and you think, oh, it didn't work. You have to commit to doing something when you really want that actual mindset change, not just the physical change, but the mindset change. But stand up to your bullies, understand your bullies, have sympathy and empathy for your bullies, and see them in a different way. See them as little boys and girls that are still struggling inside to figure out where their real true confidence is. That maybe they put on so many, figurative masks in their life that they just don't understand who they are anymore. So they've created this ego, this persona that says, okay, as long as I'm in control, as long as I'm angry, as long as I'm shouting, then I'm the one that's got control because I need to know what the outcome is. Maybe they had a horrible childhood or they just always have to predict what their outcome is. Maybe that's a source of it. And so if you realize that maybe this is coming from more pain than it is anger, then you can help to understand and sympathize with them. And again, if you're one of those bullies, go look in the accountability mirror and figure out what it is that you can be responsible for and say, hey, listen, I realize that I'm a jerk to my family. I realize I'm a jerk to my coworkers. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to look on a review of my life and see how much of an asshole I was, as opposed to sitting there saying, hey, listen, if I could just shift my perspective one little bit today and not use the word hate anymore. That was something I did years ago. I just stopped using the word hate. I'm like, I used to say, I hate you too. I'm like, I don't hate you too. I just don't listen to their music. I respect them as artists, whatever. I don't hate them. So thinking about the words that we use and the actions that we take, I'm seeing beautiful posts now saying, hey, if you're on the left or if you're on the right, I still dig you much the same. We all are entitled to our opinions and our beliefs, but I still think you're cool people. So I'm seeing that bridge coming together, but it starts within us. It starts within our own healing and healing our kids and making sure we're setting the best example for them. Because who wants to look back in the history books and realize that, in 2020, all of us, quote unquote, adults and all us experts, couldn't even pull us back together again. So that's my hope. That's my wish. Again, go check out Chris Warner, thechriswarner.com. And of course, we'll be back again next Friday night. We've already got a subject picked out for you guys. We're going to be talking about the teachers and what they're going through during this particular time and the dramatic shifts in mindset and expectations in dealing with parents and kids and everything else and the school system and the changing laws. So we're going to have somebody in here exciting to talk about that and just kind of give us a different perspective on exactly what's going on. So we love you guys. Thank you for being here in the chats. Thank you for sending us the questions. What's up, Wallace? It's good to see you. You guys are fantastic. Thank you, Patricia. You guys are all awesome. Have a great Friday night. Have a great weekend. Go make some awesome moments. Go live life. Don't be scared. Be excited. And we will see you guys next week. All right.